Did you know hearing loss affects 12,000 children born in the U.S. each year, making it the most common birth defect? My name is Richard McCullough, and I invite you to check out the American Abilities Television Network to find out the answers to these and other important questions about your hearing. Join me Sundays at 10 a.m. on CW16 and anytime on our website, AmericanAbilitiesTV.com. American Abilities Television Network, your original media source for hearing health. American Abilities Television Network is on Facebook. Like us today.
This is the American Abilities Television Network.
AATV is the only national network that features open captioning all the time. AATV, American Abilities Television Network, programming for the deaf and hard of hearing.
Obesity costs this country about $150 billion a year, or almost 10% of the national medical budget. Approximately 1 in 3 adults and 1 in 6 children are obese. Obesity is epidemic in the United States and a major cause of death attributable to heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. At its simplest, obesity results from people consuming more calories than their bodies burn. But it's a more complex problem than that. People didn't decide to become overweight. Their weight gain is a consequence of complicated changes in the environment, where food is more readily available and opportunities for physical activity are lacking.
Societal, economic, cultural conditions have all contributed to the rise in obesity.
One contributing factor is the fact that the way we eat has changed over the last 50 years. Americans are eating more processed foods and eating out a lot more frequently. The foods that are offered in restaurants, snack shops, and in vending machines are higher in sugar, calories, and fat than what we typically prepare in our own homes. We are surrounded by food. We're constantly bombarded by it. We're consuming larger portion sizes and more calories than ever before. Another factor is that people who live in poor and rural communities may have less access to quality grocery stores that sell healthy and affordable options. In these areas, it might be easier and cheaper for residents to purchase less healthy foods and beverages.
Other factors such as technology and the way we build our communities has influenced our lives. Both of these factors have left us more sedentary. Families must drive to work and school because it's often too far to walk. Many communities are built in ways that simply make it difficult or unsafe to be physically active. For many families, safe routes for walking and biking to school or play may not even exist. Getting to parks and recreation centers may be difficult, and public transportation may not even be available. And we spend a lot of time sitting in front of screens for work and for entertainment. Also, too few students get daily quality physical education in schools.
There is no single or simple solution to the obesity epidemic. It's going to take solutions at many levels in order to resolve the epidemic. What can each of us do as individuals to be healthier? First, we can eat more fruits and vegetables and fewer foods that are higher in fat and sugar. We can also drink more water instead of sugar drinks. Everyone, including adults of all ages and ability levels and children, need to get the recommended amount of physical activity. Parents can listen to their pediatricians and restrict television viewing for their young children to less than 2 hours a day, and we cannot put televisions in our children's bedrooms. How can we work together as communities to resolve the obesity epidemic? Communities can expand access to fruits and vegetables through farmers markets programs like this one in Brownsville, Texas.
The market was designed for the sole intent of reducing obesity rates and improving diabetes rates in our community.
There's a wide range of people who come to the market from different walks of life.
Low-income families, who may not be able to afford some of the fruits and vegetables. The voucher program has been very instrumental.
Communities can also advocate for quality nutrition programs and physical education in their school systems. One way to do that is through school health advisory councils.
The School Health Advisory Council is something that doesn't cost any money, and it is relatively little amount of time, and it brings together a diverse group of people from the community and the schools.
I like to be healthy because I want to be big and strong.
Because schools face so much pressure to try to do so many other things, the School Health Advisory Council is the perfect way for schools to achieve it.
Local governments and communities can play an important role in developing environments that encourage and support active living. They can increase opportunities for physical activity by encouraging mixed-use development to allow for easy access to schools, businesses, parks, and grocery stores. They can implement traffic safety measures and crime prevention strategies. Building bike paths, sidewalks, and crosswalks will foster safe and easy access to more physical activity. States and local governments can provide incentives to existing markets to offer healthier food, and they can also provide incentives for new businesses to establish their supermarkets in low-income areas.
The quality of the produce is much better, and of course it's least expensive than at the corner stores. And this is very helpful to the neighborhood, I think, to overall be a more healthier neighborhood.
I had lived in Philadelphia all my life, and I had never was a market like this around here that we can walk to. That's a convenience, and on top of that, healthy foods.
Employers can offer worksite health programs that offer a variety of options for their employees, such as this program in Austin, Texas.
This used to just be a place to come to work and go home, and now it's a place where you can come and get in your workout and get in your support group for your weight loss. And instead of just going to the short order cook and having a burger and fries, you can have a nice, healthier sandwich. And that's made a difference.
In addition, employers can make it easier for women to continue breastfeeding when they return to work, because babies who are breastfed are less likely to become overweight later in life.
There is no simple solution to the obesity epidemic. People need to make better choices, but we also have to change those choices in our schools, in our child care settings, in our work sites, and in our communities.
My name is Rose. Smoking caused my lung cancer. I was on chemo and radiation.
Did you know smoking may cause hearing loss? For more on this topic, go to AmericanAbilitiesTV.com. Did you know the #1 disability of soldiers returning from deployment is hearing loss? For more on this topic, go to AmericanAbilitiesTV.com.
Obesity costs this country about $150 billion a year, or almost 10% of the national medical budget.
Did you know obesity is associated with a higher risk for hearing loss? For more on this topic, go to AmericanAbilitiesTV.com. American Abilities Television Network is on Facebook. Like us today.
This is the American Abilities Television Network.
Oh, hello. I'm Sophie, and I'm here at the Centers for Disease Control, studying one of the world's most dangerous creatures. Want to guess what it is? A lion? Good guess, but it's much smaller. A snake? Could be, but think much, much smaller. Here it is. Still can't see it? Look closer. It's a mosquito. This little tiny thing is one of the world's most dangerous creatures because it can spread diseases that cause sickness and death around the world. But I'm going to show you how the CDC is helping to fight one of those diseases, malaria. If you live in the United States, you may not have even heard of malaria. It was eliminated in the U.S. way before I was born. But in Africa, hundreds of thousands of children die every year after being bitten by mosquitoes that carry malaria parasites. Inside the CDC insectary, researchers are working on ways to keep people healthy by reducing the transmission or spread of malaria in areas where it occurs, and to ensure this disease doesn't return to the places where it no longer exists. Now, your first question might be, what is an insectary?
An insectary is a specialized lab where we breed the mosquitoes. Since most of the major malaria vectors are from tropical areas, we keep these rooms warm and humid year-round. Let me show you how we breed some of the most dangerous creatures in the world.
Wait a second, did he just say breed mosquitoes?
So you're probably wondering why we breed mosquitoes in the first place. Well, it's safer, easier, and cheaper to breed the large number of mosquitoes we need to conduct our assays on controlling mosquitoes in the wild. The mosquito, which spends half its life in water and half on land, is an insect, just like the butterfly, with 4 distinct stages: egg, larvae, pupae, and adults.
Thanks, Paul. So what do they do with all those mosquitoes? One thing is testing insecticide-treated bed nets.
Insecticide-treated bed nets are one of the main tools used to prevent malaria. Millions of these nets have been distributed worldwide. Bed nets are effective because most of the mosquitoes that transmit malaria feed late at night when people are asleep. By sleeping under a net, people can dramatically reduce their chances of getting bitten by a mosquito. However, nets will eventually acquire holes through which mosquitoes can fly. We are studying how this happens to help us determine when to replace nets or how to design nets that last even longer.
Now the cool thing about these nets, even if they do have a few small holes, they're still effective because of the insecticide. How do they know which insecticide works best?
We test the nets by exposing laboratory-reared mosquitoes inside special plastic cones. We then observe how many mosquitoes die after being exposed to the nets.
Wondering what that straw-looking thing is that she's using? Me too.
It's called an aspirator, and it is the easiest way to transfer the live mosquito from a cage to the cone without harming them. The mosquitoes are sucked into this tube, but a HEPA filter prevents mosquitoes, wing scales, and other particles, even bacteria, from going any further. We then gently blow the mosquito into the cone. We not only use these cones to test nets, but also to test insecticides sprayed on walls to kill mosquitoes that transmit malaria. When we do these tests in the laboratory, we use mosquitoes that should die when exposed to the nets. But in the real world, many mosquitoes are becoming resistant to insecticides.
What is insecticide resistance?
Some mosquitoes are naturally able to survive a treatment with a given insecticide. Variations in their physiology prevent the insecticide from killing or harming them. These physiological traits are generally passed from parent to offspring. With continued insecticide use, the resistant mosquitoes increase in the population. The spread of insecticide resistance is a major threat to all insecticide-based control methods, including the bed nets that we test here.
What's being done about insecticide resistance?
We've developed a simple, inexpensive method for detecting resistance called the CDC bottle assay. In this assay, we coat the inside of a bottle with an insecticide. We then place mosquitoes into the bottle and observe the number that die. Mosquitoes that do not die are resistant. Once we know resistance is present in a population, we take measures to control these mosquitoes, such as changing to another insecticide.
You know, it wasn't long ago controlling malaria in Africa seemed impossible. Now, thanks to global malaria control, there are fewer deaths from malaria. And one day we can even hope to eliminate malaria. For now, it's important to know that the research at CDC is helping to control this deadly disease. I hope you will learn more about malaria and the CDC by visiting this website.
This is the American Abilities Television Network.
Each year in the United States, approximately 20,000 people go to the emergency room for carbon monoxide poisoning.
Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas. It's extremely poisonous and it can kill you in minutes if you're exposed to it.
Nearly 500 people die from carbon monoxide poisoning.
Fire and Rescue Captain Antonio Burton is a first responder and has been a victim of a CO leak in his home.
It's a strange feeling Once you start that, feeling dizzy, then you get a tremendous headache. You also start experiencing nausea, and that nausea can lead to other symptoms.
In a really severe case of carbon monoxide poisoning, someone could lose consciousness or die within minutes.
Hurricanes or severe storms can trigger power outages that last for days. Some people fire up a generator for power or a gas stove to heat their home, but fail to realize the danger.
It's one thing to be cold, it's another thing to be seriously ill and need critical care.
Never use your oven to heat your home. It could be a source of carbon monoxide for you. It's dangerous. Don't do it.
Make sure that their appliances and heating devices are properly vented and maintained by a professional.
Dangers from poorly maintained heating systems really are going to be the #1 cause of carbon monoxide poisonings in the United States.
CDC suggests that generators be placed outdoors.
We recommend at least 25 feet away from your house. The best is as far away from your home as possible. So if your power cord is 50 feet, I would put my generator 50 feet away from my house if I was using it.
There are actions to protect your family.
CDC recommends that all homes have carbon monoxide detectors. I think it's a great investment. It's particularly important that you have carbon monoxide detectors near where people sleep at night. The worst location for a carbon monoxide detector is in the box without a battery.
Most importantly, when you go to purchase a CO detector, make sure that it is specifically for carbon monoxide.
The other important thing is that it's battery operated. If it is an AC operated detector, it's important that it also have a battery backup.
Running your car in the garage, even with the garage door open, is not safe.
If you have to get your car warmed up in the wintertime, make sure it's parked in the driveway well away from the house.
Carbon monoxide makes people sick, it kills people, and it's completely preventable.
Ever hear someone with a drug problem talk about quitting? And then they try to quit on their own with no help. They tell their friends they've given up drugs forever. It usually doesn't work. Eventually they slip and start using again. Why are drugs so hard to quit? Because addiction is a brain disease. Addiction is when you feel a strong urge to keep taking a drug, even if it is causing harm. To stop, ask for help. Your brain is like a control tower. It sends out signals that direct your actions and choices. When you take drugs, the chemical signals in your brain change. This affects your choices, your actions, and even the way you feel. The part of your brain that lets you feel pleasure can be changed by drugs. Normally, this pleasure center is active when you eat, fall in love, or experience something else you enjoy. After a while, the drug becomes more important. When someone takes a drug, they first feel a rush or a high. But over time, the high is not as strong, and they need the drug to keep from feeling bad. This is what happens when you are addicted. But you don't have to stay that way. Quitting drugs is hard, but it can be done. If you or someone you love has a problem, get help. Find drug treatment near you. Call 1-800-662-HELP. Want to learn more? Find easy-to-read drug facts at www.easyread.drugabuse.gov.
This is the American Abilities Television Network.
Clinical trials are research that's performed in patients with the goal of developing good evidence for what causes a disease, what constitutes a disease, and most important of all, what can be done to either prevent or to treat a disease. There are many advantages to participating in a clinical trial here at NIH. If you're a patient, and especially a patient with a rare disease, there's probably the simple advantage of being seen by doctors who have a large experience with your disease, with your syndrome, with your condition. In contrast to even a great doctor in the community or at an academic center who may only see one case in a year or one case in a lifetime of the disease that affects you. So that's worth a lot. There's always the potential benefit of participating in a trial that's wildly successful, in which something new and dramatic has been developed and needs to be tested for the first time in humans, so a patient can benefit from that. So in the hematology branch, because we're interested in severe blood diseases, the people who participate in our clinical trials are suffering from a form of bone marrow failure, sometimes a leukemia, a malignant disease of the bone marrow, and other diseases that have a major impact on their life that in fact can be life-threatening or fatal. Aplastic anemia is a disease of the bone marrow. The bone marrow is the factory for the blood. And in aplastic anemia, you can think about the factory just shutting down. We've conducted probably hundreds of studies of this disease, mainly with the goal of developing effective therapy. In fact, a very recent study that we did compared two types of treatment that had been used interchangeably for aplastic anemia, and we showed that one of the therapies was much superior to the others, and that had not been suspected at all by the experts in the field of aplastic anemia. That's a very important study that influenced the way patients are taken care of all over the world. I think there's also a satisfaction that comes from being a participant in a clinical trial. Even if you're not in the better of the two arms or you suffer a side effect, the knowledge that's gained really is going to help everyone else with that disease. The work that's been done here at NIH has had a major impact on how well patients with this disease do. When I was much younger and in training, the occasional patient that I saw with aplastic anemia was doomed to die within a few months. They were usually sent home for a few transfusions, and we didn't see them again. Now, most patients, the great majority of patients with aplastic anemia, can be effectively treated. That's an enormous satisfaction to not only see patients. Main satisfaction is to see a patient you treated 20 years ago come back and have a family and do well, but it's also, from the career point of view, wonderful to be a participant in something that's so substantially helped people, so tangibly helped. Not a promise for the future, but something that's really happened to people that you know.
Stories from the War Zone, only on American Abilities Television Network. My name is Richard McCullough. Join me Sundays at 10 a.m. on CW16, American Abilities Television Network, your original media source for hearing health. Did you know hearing loss affects 12,000 children born in the U.S. each year, making it the most common birth defect? My name is Richard McCullough, and I invite you to check out the American Abilities Television Network to find out the answers to these and other important questions about your hearing. Join me Sundays at 10 a.m. on CW16 and anytime on our website, AmericanAbilitiesTV.com. American Abilities Television Network, your original media source for hearing health. I'm Richard McCullough, bringing you a variety of topics about hearing issues. Sundays, 10 a.m. on CW16. American Abilities Television Network, your original media source for hearing health.